Well, it's the end of the LCS lock-in tournament for week one. Of course, this coverage is brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Alfari, who he and I were just discussing. I don't think we've ever done an interview before, so our first ever interview. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Travis. Hi.
well, well, talk to me a little bit because I think there are probably a lot of people who are very familiar with all your accomplishments in EU and all that, but a lot of people who probably are less familiar, right? Maybe they don't normally watch LEC and all that. So I'd love to kind of hear, in your own words, what your career has been like, what your story's been.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I guess I started in Challenger Series when I was 16, with Renegades Banditos, which then became Misfits. And this was like the original Misfits, like Hans Sama, Ignore that team.
What year was this? Remind me.
This was 2016
Yeah.
still. And yeah, we crushed Challenger Series, qualified for LCS or LEC. And then we did pretty good in our first year. We made finals and we went to Worlds. We had like a best of five against SKT where Ignore was smurfing and playing the owner with Purple Battle. And then after that, I've been on Origin, um, where like it's been some up and downs. Came second one split. Otherwise, mostly downs after that, actually. Didn't make Worlds the past 2 years at least, 3 years even. So yeah, that was a bit of a rough time. Trying to make it to Worlds and just falling short, coming like fourth, just outside of the three places a couple times. And yeah, now after like a bad year on Origin where we were expected to do pretty well, but we didn't. Um, Here I am now on Team Liquid, trying again. Hopefully, I think this time I will make it to Worlds.
Well, one thing I know that you did not mention is that despite all those years of not making it to Worlds, you've been constantly lauded as one of the best top laners in the LEC. Do you think that's true? Do you think that you've been, the best or one of the best over the past 3 years?
Hmm. I'm not sure about the past 3 years. I've been very confident in my skill level always. I've always considered that if I'm not currently the best top laner in the region, then I should be. If I just practice a bit more, and if I just change a few things, like it's totally within my power. And it's just because I'm like slacking or like, I had like an off game or something like this. Um, I think the past 2 years I played usually quite good, but I've obviously had like a lot still to improve on. And, um, you know, my team's not always doing well. It's not like I'm not just gonna like blame my teammates and stuff like this. It's all connected, and I definitely could have done things better. But no, I would definitely say that I would consider myself as like a top tier top laner while I've been in Europe for sure. I really enjoy competing against like Wonder and Reaper, and I would rate myself among these guys at least probably.
I remember during the off season, fairly early on, you tweeted something like decisions, and I think I forget what it was, but I think that's what you tweeted, and I think I replied back and was like, "The food here is great." So I'm kind of curious if you can go all the way back mentally to that time and kind of give me an idea of what was actually going on behind the scenes and when you got approached and when you started to realize LCS was an option for you and kind of how you went through that in your mind.
Yeah, right. So I mean, off-season started really early, like super early for me, since I didn't even make playoffs. Um, so I actually started talking to like lots of teams, like really, really early. Like just like very like preliminary talks, just like them showing that they have interest and me being like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'll talk to you like, in like a month or so again, because there's no reason talking in like September or something, right? Too much. Um, and then things started kicking off in October, I guess, after like a lot of teams started dropping out worlds from the West. Um, and TL was, one of the teams that showed interest in me, obviously. Um, and based on everything else I'd heard about like a lot of other American teams and based on Team Liquid roster and what I've heard about the org, this was the only, like I kind of decided pretty early that if I was going to go to America, it would be the Team Liquid. And so then it's like between NA and EU for the rest of the off season. And I had like a lot of interesting EU options, but in every EU team, I saw like one or two things that made me be like, like I have a lot of confidence in like I think some of these players are like amazing, but I'm not like so sure about like this like one thing or like these two things. So that was like on my mind a bit, and then also considering that basically the last year on Origin, we were supposed to be a good team, and we were not. We had huge issues which I could have not foreseen individually, and I mean, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the org and the effort put in, I mean, also in there as well. But I don't really think that would be a problem with any other org, to be honest. And I don't know, basically like the amount of rookies that come into LEC as well, and kind of throw off like a lot of established talent. It makes it a lot more difficult, I would say, to kind of predict how like a roster's going to do. So this is like these are all thoughts that were going through my mind a lot. And I mean, the most important thing for me, for sure, was to go back to Worlds. And basically, the way I saw it was after like the past year on Origin, I was trying really hard to make it work, and it didn't work, and it really took a toll on me. And I kind of figured that if I was like, I wanted to try hard again, and I wanted to make it to Worlds, but I thought that if I like another year, like 4 years in a row of like trying really hard and not making it to Worlds, I don't know if I'll be able to handle it. Basically, I don't know if I would have to like just be like fuck this, I'm done playing League if this year doesn't work out. So I was really this is like on my mind a lot because I know that also like Europe is just like a lot more unpredictable, and it's also like a harder region in general. Oh, well, not harder region in general. It's a harder region because of G2,
Yes.
because of Caps and G2 just being good. Like, I think every other team is kind of similar to like the top LEC, top LCS teams rather. Probably like the bottom LCS teams kind of suck, but I would say like the top like LEC teams aside from G2 and the top LCS teams, you can compare them, I would say. So yeah, and yeah, then basically became G. I'm going on for a long time, but
No,
yeah,
it's good. I like
it
here.
was
I'm happy you're telling a story.
yeah. So then it's like EU or NA, and it was super hard decision still. A lot of people as well. Like I see people on Reddit or Twitter being like, well, people go to NA just for money, and money is obviously a factor, but I had nearly exactly comparable offers from at least one European team, and yeah, like if I wanted, like the money was basically the same, so that might surprise some people to hear, but yeah, that was the thing, and I just decided that this would be like the best chance to make the Worlds. I respect Corjay a huge amount, Jensen tactical, Santon also, like I thought last year he was the best jungler in America, and I also know him a little bit from his time playing in Europe. Like, this guy was in Challenger Series basically the same time as me back in 2016 when I was 16 years old. So, a lot of the players I played with Cold already, and he's my coach now. I think he's a smart guy. He's like really easy to work with. Jay as well. I had a really good first impression with him, so everything's kind of added up. And yeah, in the end, decided to go with TL because of all these things.
Was there one thing I didn't hear you mention? I'm kind of curious if you even care about it or if your eyes are mostly set on Worlds. Is just winning in the region, because one thing that I've said a lot, that this quote that Britpo said in an interview with me back in 2019 is like, I understand. He basically said, I understand why players go to NA because if you're not a Fnatic or G2, you're not going to win in LEC. Was that a factor in your mind? Do you think that, or do you think it's true?
It's not true. I don't think you can think like this. I think this is like I don't know. Like I don't know actually how you can think that a certain team is unbeatable. So I think that for sure it's harder to beat G2 than it's going to be to beat C9 or EG or whatever team you have to play in the final. That's undeniable, I would say. But like, of course you can beat them. They are not superhumans. They're not gods. They're just like 5 nerds, just like me, sitting at a PC playing a video game. And yeah, they are really good, and they're a great team, and they are really good players. But I've always kind of enjoyed the idea of, actually being like the team to be able to beat G2 in the final. That's like, I think that's like a bit of added motivation. So yeah, that's not like something I thought that, this G2 is unbeatable. It's not like that. Yeah, I would have really liked to beat them. I mean, but yeah, it's probably like a bit easier to win the finals in NA.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is interesting to me is you said it's not about the money, and I believe you when you say that. But I think a lot of people would push back and be like, well, if he wants to go to Worlds, if he wants to compete, he should be on LEC teams that always end up doing better at Worlds. And like, look at North America's history. I mean, even NA fans, I think, would say like, hey, in the past 2 years, we haven't gotten a team out of groups even. So was that a factor in your mind? Do you look at this and say like, well, these guys can't even get out of groups?
No, I mean, I haven't been to Worlds for the past 3 years. Like the first step for me is making it there, and this is the best chance for me, and it's also the best chance to win a title, in my opinion. Um, and I also, like I said, I believe in all the players. I don't think that this roster is like worse than any EU roster that I got the option to join. They're like very strong EU rosters too, like I said, but there was like always had like one or two like players or things where I was like, I have huge respect for this guy or this player, but this other guy, I'm really not convinced. And after the past year, do I really want to take that risk again of, trying to make it work on a team that I think probably will make it to Worlds, but there's that risk where actually, what if this player is just bad and it just ends up going to shit again, just like the past 3 years, then I'm going to be totally done, right? So, yeah, I just want to make it to Worlds, and when I get there, I'm sure that we're going to do good. I'm going to put in as much effort as I can, and yeah, I think it's going to be good. But yeah, just making it to Worlds first is like the first step because I haven't even been there in a while, so I don't want to be like, my goal is to win Worlds, and nothing else is acceptable. Only the best team in the world can contact me. Like, this is just totally wrong mindset, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, really quickly, do you have another interview after this? Because I don't know if I need to wrap this up really quickly. Do you know if you have another?
I don't think I do, no.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Then I'm not interrupting anybody. I'll try to not make this super long, but I think your answers have been great. One question I do have for you was, as you were looking at coming over here, TL actually solidified their roster very quickly. I mean, I know Santorin was kind of up in the air, but there were a lot of rumors placing him with the team early on. Did you look at the roster and say to yourself, like, oh man, we're going to crush it. Nobody's going to be able to stand up to us. And then a couple weeks later, Perks is like, oh, by the way, I'm joining. I don't know if there's been any thought on your part where you're like, feeling an immense amount of confidence, and then you see Sword Art and Perks show up, because I think with those two are kind of been considered like the three horses of the apocalypse when it comes to off-season joining North America.
I mean, I saw Perks joining, and I was honestly like, I mean, I know it's making the region harder, but I was kind of like excited and like hyped about it as well. Like I'm like, while I'm a competitor, I'm also a fan of League of Legends, of LEC and NA LCS in general. So seeing like other big players, make this move, like, Perks going from G2 from like 5-6 years, competing against him all this time, to now, coming to NA together, or in different teams obviously, but competing against each other again. While he's definitely going to be difficult or like harder to beat than an NA mid or like some other import, I think it's going to be exciting. And yeah, I was just kind of buying into the hype as well and being like, oh damn, NA is actually going to be a bit more hard. It's going to be like a bit more fun. And it's obviously like going to make the region better as well, having someone as just smart and accomplished as Perks in the region. He's going to, make his team C9 a really good contender, I'm sure. Which in turn is going to make us TL better, because we're going to have to practice against them, we're going to scrim against them, we're going to play against them on stage, we're going to have to learn from them if we want to beat them. It's kind of like how Fnatic, they leveled up the whole region when they had Caps and they made it to that World Finals run. I really think they leveled up whole of Europe that year because of how good they were. And it's kind of like how then when G2 made that super team with Caps and Perks doing the crazy role swap,
right?
Then they also leveled up the whole region, in my opinion, as well. So I think that just improving the general level of competition is something that's good, and it's not going to like waver my confidence as well in myself or my team to be able to beat them. Like I said, I think I should be the best if I keep working on it. It's just a matter of time. So it doesn't really matter how good the enemies are, right? It just matters about, you know, focusing and improving, keeping myself disciplined.
Well, I know you said you want to be the best top laner in your position. Are there any players right now that you think stand in your way of that in LCS that you feel like you need to surpass them or are currently challenging or rivaling you? I know it's early on, but obviously you've seen a lot of these players play now and have scrimmed against some of them, played against some of them.
I mean, I only scrimmed for 2 days. Still, like, I only got here like late Tuesday. Um, and I didn't really watch too much NALCS. Like last year, I watched like playoffs a bit, and I watched like the World Games.
Sure.
And I spoke to like some of the players, some of the coaches, get like a feel for players and teams, etc. My general impression of NA top laners has been that they are just like strictly worse than the elite tier LEC top laners, like Reaper, Wonder, myself, in my opinion. So, while I think there's probably like some good NA tops, like I think, I mean NA tops, I mean like, playing in NA like Impact someday.
Right.
I'm not really like phased by any of them. I don't think any of them is gonna be like, a challenge to have to kind of train for, or something that I have to like pass. It's just going to be, another opponent in my way. I think just the same as ever. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be like playing against Keen or the Shy or something. That I'm going to be like shit.
Sure.
I have to bring my A game for this guy, I think.
It sounds like you may already think you're the best top laner in LCS currently. I mean, the way you put it, right? You say like, none of these guys are up to the elite, and I feel like I'm part of the elite. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I think if I on a decent to good day, I would probably say I'm probably the best. Yeah.
Okay. Good. It's fun to hear. I mean, it's great to hear a lot of confidence coming out from you and a lot of the other players, because obviously we've gone through this like generational change this year. I know in LEC you guys you change out half the league every year with rookies and amateur players, so it's been fun for us to sort of see all this big change. Okay, well, I know I've taken much more of your time than I intended to. Is there anything you want to say to any of the Team Liquid fans or LCS fans that are tuning in to watch you play now and are excited perhaps after seeing your performance this past week?
Yeah, I would say obviously thank you for supporting me and Team Liquid. And if you are not doing that, then you should do that. And even though we went 2-1 this week, which is not the start we would have hoped for, like 3-0 would be great. We are not playing with Santorin. I am super jet lagged, waking up at 3 a.m. every day. So I think with actual practice and having like the full roster together, I think we are gonna I think we're just gonna keep going up. So
nice.
Yeah, don't worry about us losing that one game. We're gonna learn from it, and we're gonna keep improving, and we're gonna be good, I think.
Well, thank you so much, Alfari, for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Oh man, I was just watching that interview again after I'd filmed it, and I was thinking to myself, what an amazing interview. The person who conducted that interview definitely deserves more subscribers on his YouTube channel. And yet, so many people don't subscribe because I guess they just hate him. I don't know. It's sad. But you know who does subscribe? Alienware. They subscribe to this channel, and you can subscribe to their amazing products at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description below. You can use Travis10 off Q4 to save 10% or more off your order. Thank you so much to Alienware for subscribing to my channel. And maybe you could too if you haven't yet. That'd be swell.